told just to cut out spicy food and wine for rosacea, you've only been given part of the story. What if I told you that by making the right dietary changes, you could help to calm rosacea from the inside out and feel back in control of your skin? Today, I'm sharing the little known but evidence-backed diet strategies that could change everything. But first, a quick hello if you're new here. My name is Fiona and I'm a registered nutritionist with a master's degree in nutritional medicine. On this channel, we talk all things food and skin. So if that interests you, stick around, subscribe, and maybe even check out my evidence-based skincare guides. Now, this video was actually a request from a viewer, so if there's anything that you'd like me to cover, please let me know in the comments below. So let's talk about rosacea triggers. Now, mainstream dietary advice for rosacea centers around avoiding triggers. Now, these are different for every person, but the most common ones are spicy food, hot drinks, alcohol, and food that contains the compound cinnamaldehyde, so that's things like chocolate and tomatoes and citrus fruits. Now, don't get me wrong, avoiding triggers is important and it does help, but there are two major issues with this approach. The first one is that it is a hot ticket to food anxiety. Whenever we focus too much on avoiding certain foods, it really sucks the joy out of eating and it massively affects your quality of life. The second issue is that it does help, but it's only ever a part solution. Most people focus on dietary triggers without realizing that they're near the top of the food rosacea pyramid. But it's what's underneath that really matters. Building a solid foundation of anti-inflammatory eating and gut health that helps to make your skin less reactive in the first place. So let's look at that pyramid, starting at the bottom with the best diet for rosacea. Rosacea is an inflammatory condition. If you have it, you know that. You feel it. But what most people don't realize is what you eat can influence how prone to inflammation you are. If you eat a Western style diet full of processed foods and refined carbohydrates, you're effectively handing your immune system the ingredients to make pro-inflammatory molecules. And this winds up making your skin more red and rough and sore. But thankfully, the opposite is also true. If you eat a fresher Mediterranean style diet, you're giving your immune system the ingredients to make anti-inflammatory molecules, which eases the redness and irritation and discomfort in your skin. And we have research to back this up with observational studies showing that the more people stick to a Mediterranean style pattern of eating, the less likely they are to have rosacea, and when they do have it, the more manageable it becomes. So what does this mean in practice? It's actually really simple. It means centering your diet around 4 key pillars. The first one is colourful fruits and vegetables. The second one is fibre-rich foods like pulses and legumes and whole grains. The third one is high quality protein, particularly fish and meat that's responsibly reared, and eggs and dairy if you tolerate it. And the fourth one is healthy fat from things like nuts and seeds and avocado and extra virgin olive oil. When you look at these styles of eating side by side, it rapidly becomes obvious which isn't going to serve you and which is going to give you that calm, glowing skin that you crave. If you'd like to delve a little deeper into this, I have a whole video on how to eat for great skin, which kind of goes into these pillars and right down to how to put a plate together. And I will link that video there for you. Next, we're moving to the second layer of our pyramid, which is how to optimize gut health. Now, this is where things get interesting. Rosacea isn't just skin deep. It actually has a deep connection to your gut. And researchers have found that imbalances in 3 specific areas of your digestive tract may contribute to flare-ups. So let's take a more detailed look at each, starting with your stomach. Now, around half of us carry a little bug called Helicobacter pylori or H. pylori in our stomachs. Now, for lots of people, this little bug doesn't cause any problems at all, but for other people, it can. Research suggests that people with rosacea are more likely to have H. pylori in their stomachs. And when H. pylori is eradicated, symptoms of rosacea can improve. So it could be that this little bug is contributing to the inflammation that shows up on your skin. But sadly, it's not quite that clear cut. The issue we have here is that the antibiotics used to eradicate H. pylori have an anti-inflammatory effect in their own right. So the symptom improvement could be down to the anti-inflammatories rather than the eradication of H. pylori specifically. What I have seen clinically is that people with rosacea are more likely to have low stomach acid. And yes, we often focus on the problem of too much stomach acid, but actually too little stomach acid can be just as much of an issue. And this fits fits in with the whole H. pylori picture, because H. pylori can neutralize or reduce your stomach acid just to give itself a more comfortable place to live. Now, there are two really simple things you can do to encourage healthy levels of stomach acid. The first one is to slow down and relax when you eat. Get rid of the screens, focus on your food. Give your digestion time to warm up and respond. So if you're watching me while eating, turn me off and come back later. The second thing you can do is to take digestive bitters. Now, you typically drink these in water about 20 minutes before your meal. And again, it's an extra tool just to kick your stomach into gear. Now, there are other natural approaches you can take for H. pylori too, things like mastic gum and betaine hydrochloride, but these should only ever be used under the supervision of a qualified practitioner. This video is for information, not personalized recommendations, so please don't go self-dosing these. So that's the possible stomach rosacea connection, H. pylori and low stomach acid. Moving on to the small intestine, where our potential issue is SIBO. Now, we all know about gut bacteria by now, but what you might not know is that current understanding suggests that most of our gut bacteria are meant to live in our large intestine or our colon. Now, sometimes they can start creeping into the bottom of the small intestine, which is what's known as small intestine bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO. The problem with SIBO is that it interferes with your digestion and ramps up inflammation. And again, there is a rosacea SIBO link, with research suggesting that people with rosacea are more likely to have SIBO. And in one interventional study, when they eradicated the SIBO, rosacea cleared in over 70% of the patients. Now again, here we do have the same issue in that the antibiotics used to treat SIBO in this study are inherently anti-inflammatory. But the hopeful thing here is that the clear rosacea-free skin persisted for months after the treatment stopped. So if you have digestive symptoms, things like bloating or excessive gas or diarrhea or constipation, you might want to investigate SIBO. Your first port of call should be your doctor. And there are also natural approaches you can take, things like herbal antimicrobials. But again, please only take these under the supervision of a suitably qualified practitioner. Remember, this is information, not recommendation. So that's the small intestine rosacea link. SIBO. Moving on to the last part of our digestive tract, which is the large intestine or colon. The key thing you need to know here is that your gut bugs are talking to your immune system all the time. Now, if you have friendly gut bugs, they have a nice harmonious relationship with your immune system. But if you have unfriendly gut bugs, they are shouting at your immune system all the time and ticking off your immune cells, leading to, you guessed it, inflammation. Now, what we know is that people with rosacea often don't have enough of the friendly gut bugs. And actually, that is an issue that stands for lots of chronic skin conditions, things like acne and eczema too. Now, luckily, this is pretty easy to address if you do two things. The first one is to eat a fiber-rich diet. Now, you'll be doing this anyway if you're following a Mediterranean style of eating, but you can step this up even further by aiming to eat 30 different plant foods every week. These plant foods are what feed those friendly bacteria and encourage them to grow so that your gut has a nice harmonious relationship with your immune system. Now, 30 might sound intimidating, but things like herbs and spices count too. So it's actually pretty easy to hit when you get in the habit of it. The second thing you can do is to eat probiotic rich foods, things like sauerkraut and kimchi and kefir and kombucha, and even some natural yogurt if you tolerate it. These can really help to tip that balance into a more friendly neighborhood and a more friendly gut environment. Now, a word of warning, some of these foods might be triggers for some people with rosacea, so if you're going to try them, start slow and just see how your skin responds. Now, shifting your gut environment or shifting your gut bugs is part of a longer game, but it can have a pretty dramatic effect over the longer term. So let's recap. You're already eating an anti-inflammatory Mediterranean style of eating. In optimizing your gut health to soothe rosacea, you can slow down when you eat and maybe have digestive bitters 20 minutes before your meals. You can also aim to eat 30 different plant foods every week and eat fermented foods daily if you tolerate them. You can also investigate things like H. pylori and SIBO with your doctor or another suitably qualified practitioner. Now, doing these things is what helps to lighten that inflammatory load. It's building the pyramid from the bottom up. Now, this means that avoiding your personal dietary triggers will still be helpful, but your symptoms will likely be better managed so you get a little bit more wiggle room with those triggers. And honestly, when you have a chronic skin condition, that is is what you want. A little bit more predictability and a little bit more freedom. Before we wrap up, let's take a look at supplements. Now, I've already mentioned a few supplements that could be used as part of a plan to address gut health, but there are 2 others that can really help to soothe inflamed skin. The first one is omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. These special fats literally get into your skin cell membranes where they help to dial down inflammation at a cellular level. And we have research showing that omega-3 fats can help, specifically in people who have dry eye symptoms along with their rosacea. Now, aiming for 2 grams of combined EPA and DHA a day is enough to have an anti-inflammatory effect. Now, this might sound like a lot, but it's actually pretty easy to hit with a high-strength fish oil formulation. I will pop some example supplements in the video description box below, but again, please remember this is information, not personalized recommendations. Fish oil can interact with some medications, so please check in with your doctor before you start any new supplements. And if you want to learn more about omega-3s for skin health specifically, I have a whole video on that too, which I will pop there for you. The second supplement that can really help is probiotics. These support a healthy environment in your gut, which, as you know by now, has a positive knock-on effect on your skin. And they also have an anti-inflammatory effect in their own right. And emerging research suggests that people who take probiotics see better results from their standard rosacea treatment. Now, this area of research is new, so we don't yet know the perfect probiotic strain for rosacea. Until we know that, taking a blend of lactobacillus and bifidobacterium strains is a great place to start. Now again, probiotics are generally safe for most people, but please check in with your doctor before you start any new supplements. I know it's tedious when I say that, but I really want everyone to be safe. So as you can see, there is so much more to rosacea than spicy food and wine. Rosacea can be really frustrating, but with the right information, it becomes something you can manage rather than something that manages you. There is so much you can do to help yourself. And alongside what you're eating, doing things like finding time for relaxation and joy and sleeping well and using the right skincare can really help to soothe your skin too. I hope you found this helpful and maybe even a little bit empowering. If you did, please consider subscribing and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching until the very end.